There are footballers, even in our beloved Real Madrid, who can be said to represent the 7 deadly sins, but none can represent laziness quite like Eden Hazard. The talented Belgian footballer arrived at the White House in exchange for €100 million, a transfer at the express wish of the technical director and supporter Zinedine Zidane. But while Zizou was pure discipline and quality on the Bernabeu pitch, Hazard, he came to the Spanish league directly to dock and take the money, and all the while imitating the legendary Faubert by falling asleep on the bench. Hazard had just triumphed in the Premier League with Chelsea, but in 4 years at Madrid, the Belgian winger spent more time in the infirmary and in the most prestigious hamburger bars than in putting in good performances for the Meringues. Good performances which can be counted on the fingers of one hand. He won 8 titles, including a Champions League with our Real, but he only managed to play 71 games and scored a paltry 7 goals. All this for a footballer who was supposed to lead the team, a footballer who supposedly wanted to fight for the Ballon d'Or. A born bon vivant who every summer said, "This year I'm going to get in shape." And every year he deceived the president Florentino Perez, season after season after season. A real shame that he took the glory, but also the booze, for being a simple bum. Now another footballer who shared that laziness was the legendary Italian striker Antonio Cassano. But more than anyone else, Madrid's number 18 in the mid-2000s represented the cardinal sin of gluttony. Despite getting off to a good start by scoring a goal against Real Betis in Heliopolis, and even putting in a great performance in the Madrid derby against the weak pre-Simeone Colchoneros team, Cassano soon began to show signs of strain, and the seams of his underwear began to show signs of strain too, as he was breaking the trousers that he was playing in, all due to his being notoriously overweight. He turned up for training, but he paid no attention to his health or physical condition. He went so far as to declare that during his time in Madrid, he ate donuts and all kinds of sweets on a daily basis. And he even declared that he slept with up to 700 different women in the year and a half that he was at the Bernabeu, until he decided to imitate the technical director Fabio Capello, and he ended up leaving the club through the back door. Now, a man who shared the hunger with Antonio Cassano, but who represented lust better than anyone else, was our beloved Ronaldo Nazario, the best striker of all time. But, as he once declared to Florenthanos himself, "I'm sorry, if I had Luis Figo's wife, I promise you I would never go out partying." Now, in a recent podcast, Ronaldo claimed that when he wasn't throwing parties at home, he would charter a private plane and go to Paris after a game on a Saturday night, and he'd go out partying and enjoy himself with friendly French women all the way through to Sunday night, and then return in the early hours of the morning for training on Monday. His encounters with models from all over the world were legendary, and he could be said to be the first transgressive footballer to recognise that he had no problem having fun with trans women, promoting inclusion more than anyone else, you could say. I think that, except for his women back then, we all forgive him. Great stuff, Ronnie. Now, there's one person that many of you will never be able to forgive, and that's the arrogant Gareth Bale. The Welsh footballer was undoubtedly made of pure talent, scoring real goals for Real, goals which even helped to win the legendary Champions League against Karius's Liverpool. However, the winger, who scored the not inconsiderable figure of 136 goals for the Whites over 8 seasons, well, he tarnished it all between 2019 and 2022 and left a bittersweet taste in the mouths of Madrid fans. You see, Bale, he wanted more recognition both financially and from the fans, and then one day he decided to stop being a footballer, preferring instead to devote himself to playing golf and having a few beers with his friends. He went to training, but only so that he could fake injuries so as not to play in matches, and that would ensure that he would always be available for his national team. As he himself declared, first Wales, then golf, and finally Real Madrid. That arrogance ended his career quite literally, as nobody remembers anything about Gareth Bale, any of his achievements after leaving Real Madrid. He played in 15 MLS games with Los Angeles FC, earning good money, and then he retired at just 32 years of age. A real shame. Now, being envious is never a positive thing, something demonstrated by the young Spanish talent Pedro Leon in his day. When he was signed from Getafe for €10 million, the midfielder from Murcia literally believed that he was the best player in the team. These are not my words, but those of the legendary substitute goalkeeper of so many years at Madrid, Jerzy Dudek, a man who declared himself surprised by the cocky attitude of a youngster who had not demonstrated anything at the highest level. No, it had to be Mo, our trusted coach Mo, who literally brought him back down to earth with a bump by leaving him out of several squads and reminding him that he was neither Zidane nor Maradona, and that he shouldn't go crying to his friends in the press for not being a Madrid regular. Envy directly left him on the bench forever, and although his career continued in different teams, he could have triumphed at Real Madrid, and instead he had to settle for playing in the first division with Real Murcia. As someone who was unable to come to his senses despite having clear anger issues was the legendary Portuguese defender Pepe. He had quality in abundance, and he was able to play for 10 seasons at the club, making more than 330 appearances with the number 3 on his back, and that's something that not many can say. He was a winner of 2 Champions Leagues with Madrid, but nevertheless he had serious problems. Anger that on many occasions could simply not be controlled nor explained. Although he was a calm and normal guy off the pitch, while on the grass he transformed into a real Terminator, something he demonstrated in the most embarrassing episode for a Real Madrid player in recent years, when he kicked Getafe midfielder Javi Casquero in frustration during a Real Madrid defeat to Getafe at the Bernabeu. On April the 21st, 2009, he conceded a penalty by pushing Getafe's number 22, and then he kicked him twice, completely unnecessarily, when he was on the ground, and then he grabbed him by his hair. And if that weren't enough, he then stomped on his ankle. And then he decided to punch Getafe's Uruguayan striker, Juan Alguel Alban, in the face, a man who was only trying to separate an emboldened Pepe. An absolutely deplorable performance, although not as deplorable as that of his Real Madrid teammates. We're talking, of course, we can only be talking about Sergio Ramos, who does profess love for the white shirt. In the 93rd minute, there was that time he became a legend by winning the 10th Champions League, a man who honourably defended the shirt for 15 years, a man who did not know how to behave like a worthy captain, due to the cardinal sin that he best represents, greed. It was not enough for him to be married to a model and presenter like Pilar Rubio. It was not enough for Madrid to give him their facilities to shoot a documentary for Amazon. And it was not enough to continue being the Whites captain and earn more than €12 million. No, he wanted $30 million and a contract for 2 seasons. A pay rise when he was already in complete decline, suffering from chronic injuries. He went to Paris instead to play with his all-of-a-sudden new idol, Leo Messi, betraying all the values of the white shirt just for money. And then he returned home to Sevilla to be quickly frozen out, and one last season, that worst in recent Sevilla history to be more exact. And in the end, he ended up earning those much-sought-after millions in the MX League with Monterrey, where he's already known for his expulsions and his absolutely indomitable character. You, Sergio, you have taken your pieces of silver in exchange for losing all the prestige that a retirement to the White House could have meant. Greed broke the bank.